up, people? Welcome back. Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is. Hope you're doing well. I know some of you guys are probably like, what was the point of that video? There was no story to it. It was just a bunch of shots and some kids waxing a surfboard. And yes, essentially that is what this video was. There really wasn't a point. There wasn't a story to it. I just had my friend over and we were just practicing some different things. And at the end of the day, sometimes you might not need a story to just practice, especially as a cinematographer. You could just set up a scene and light it a certain way and just kind of experiment. So like sports, to become a professional, to become the best at your sport, you have to practice day in, day out. It's no different than cinematography. You can't expect to become the best or get jobs if you're just sitting around on YouTube and not doing anything other than watching people do things. I know I'm guilty of it. I'll get stuck in a rabbit hole on YouTube watching lighting tutorials, camera, whatever it is, but that's all great. But at the end of the day, you need to go out yourself and just practice and try different things yourself. So today, we set up a very simple overhead lighting setup. I wanted it to look kind of natural, but also a little gritty and kind of surreal in a way. I know it's not the most natural looking thing that would happen, but I thought it added a cool vibe to it. And it's a super simple technique, so let's dive right into that. All right, so let's start with the lighting. First thing that I started with was deciding what time of day that I wanted to shoot this in. Obviously, it's nighttime, which I felt would really benefit me because it would kind of overemphasize the lighting inside the garage. If it was daylight outside, the lighting from the lights would kind of get masked by the sunlight and it wouldn't really look as good as it did now. I was also going for a bit of a moodier, more cinematic look, and having that darkness really added to that kind of negative fill side. So I chose the nighttime just to overemphasize the lighting over top. As far as the lighting, those are two bicolor quasar tubes. I had those both set to a dimmer, and they were maybe about 20% or so, because if I had them at 100%, they were way too bright. Even though looking back at it, I might have brightened them up a little bit and just brought the ISO down a little bit more. But those are all things to just consider and see. That's all part of just practicing, is taking a look at things that you shot already, and seeing how you could have adjusted them for the next time. So the reason I used these two quasar tubes was due to their just natural softness, and the ability to kind of change colors from warm to cool. And naturally I wanted to go with that very, very warm color, so I set it to about 2000 Kelvin, which is the warmest. And that kind of gave this really, really cool, rich, almost golden look. That combined with the haze that I added a really, really cool atmosphere. I didn't want to go to like daylight in a way, because that almost looked like my garage just regularly at night. I wanted to add some character to it, so that's why I made it more of that tungsten look. So my plan was to hang these lights on a C-stand with an arm, and I quickly realized that the C-stand was in frame, and that wasn't something that really, it didn't do it for me. So I changed it. I added the quasar tubes to the top of the garage. I know there was probably a better way or a safer way to do this, but I just gaff taped both sides to the top of the garage, made it look kind of even, and set my buddy Tomas and the surfboard kind of central under the lights. And that's kind of how I adapted from my original idea of having it on a C-stand arm to gaffing it up onto the garage. So the next thing I did to just add to the overall atmosphere and vibe to the little project that I had was just add a bunch of haze into the garage. And yes, I know the garage was open, the haze would be flying out, but honestly, it was a pretty still night and the haze just kind of lingered, which was really, really nice. And it kind of just created a nice atmosphere and vibe to it, especially with the haze near the lighting. You can kind of see some rays coming down, which I thought was a really nice touch. So to get off lighting, now the next thing that I really focused on obviously was the camera. What I set forth to really accomplish here was to see how many different, interesting, kind of unique compositions I could find in this one simple location. So this really allowed me to experiment and try different things without having to be on set with a big time crunch or anything along those lines. So being at home and just practicing, really, you have all the time in the world to just try different things, find a different angle, and just have a great time with it. So yeah, get out there and practice all those ideas in your head, because they might not work, but at the end of the day, they might lead to a better idea. So just get out there and keep practicing. Also, as a cinematographer, you're always developing your style and trying to find things that you like and you don't like, which is why these are super important to just try different techniques and compositions, and things will feel right to you and some things won't feel right to you, and then over time those things will just kind of feel natural. All right, so next I'm just gonna pull up two really cool stills from the project, and we're just gonna go over the lighting and camera for it. All right, so here's the first frame. Let's just take a look at it, and as you can see, the lighting here is kind of giving off this nice little hair light to the subject, my buddy Tomas, and it just kind of adds a really nice texture. You'll also notice that there is a bit of a light on his face right here, and that's just due to the actual surfboard that's right here, down here. So this light right here, the quasar tubes, they're bouncing off of the surfboard down here and bouncing back off of his face to give that little highlight right here. If this was black down here, his whole face would be very much in the shadows and very much unrecognizable. So the next thing that I thought was really cool was the actual haze here. It just created a really nice warm atmosphere and tone to the frame that I thought was kind of super cinematic looking. The last thing that I want to mention is just the reflection off the glass right here. You can see dead center is the surfboard, and he is working on it, which I thought was a really kind of cool touch to it, just to show what he is working on. All right, so this is the second frame that I've chosen to kind of just go over a little bit. First thing that I just want to go over is the background out here. So it is nighttime, so it's super dark, but at night, my neighborhood, a few homes have some exterior lighting to kind of just highlight their house or their flowers or whatever they have. So that kind of just added a really cool touch over here. And it also kind of separated my subject over here in the foreground with the background a little bit, which I thought was a really nice touch. The next thing that you'll notice obviously is these lights here. In this particular frame, it doesn't really look like they're attached to the garage itself, which I thought was really awesome. And it looks like they kind of are there purposefully. And you could also see that the gaff tape isn't very noticeable here. So overall, I'm kind of happy with the way the lighting looks in this frame. It also gives a really nice kind of top light here. And since I don't have any lights back over here, the negative side over here, the dark shadows, is really prominent, and it kind of silhouetted our subject. So to go to the camera now, this is the intro shot, and it's him walking into his kind of surfboard area, I guess, if you will. And you'll notice it starts from black and the lights turn on. So I didn't have these lights obviously hooked up to the electrical in my house. So down here is where the dimmer was, and I had my mom just kind of sitting on the floor right here. When I told her to, she would just turn on the dimmer, and that just imitated the lights flickering on. And with the added sound effects, that made it sound like the lights kind of just popped right on, the electricity was working, and it kind of just added to the overall feel of the scene. Even when you're at home, maybe find your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad to just help you out, because at the end of the day, it's those little things of the lights turning on from it being off that really make the shot look pretty cool. All right, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys found it of some value. Something that I'm going to continue to do on my channel is just kind of share my experiences and my practices with you guys. So until next time, thank you so much. Have a great day.